Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Grow Up and Love Yourself Challenge. You are here with me, Gail Diamond, in Costa Rica. Right now, we are in the Caribbean side of the country, just outside of a little town called Cahuita, and I am at this incredible eco lodge. Behind me, you'll see a lovely pool. You can hear the waterfall in the background. It's a completely natural, wonderful place, and I'm not going to want to leave. But then I'll go to the next beautiful place. I want to welcome you, but I also want to thank you, and I want to just acknowledge the courage that it takes to step into a program like this. And you really deserve a pat on the back for that. So, understand that what you're doing by joining this program is you've taken you as a priority, and your mental health, your physical health, all of the things that maybe have been pulling you down lately. You've taken a step above those things and to make things better in your world. And you are amongst a really incredible community of people. We did this challenge last year, and I was in Fiji when we filmed that challenge. And the amount of incredible shares and support for everybody that was going through their journeys was truly incredible. So you have a bar that is kind of up there high. So I'm really looking forward to hearing all of your shares and seeing how you support each other in this community. Um, so really, whatever you're going through, some of you are going through a loss. I know for me that was a huge part, and it's actually where this program came from. I'll tell you a little bit more about that later. Whether you're going through a loss or whether, maybe it's the end of a relationship, end of a career, maybe it's just you're feeling lost in the everyday grind. This world right now is just pulls us in all sorts of directions, and sometimes it's really hard to get our true north and our bearings for where we want to be and what we want to actually do in our life. And that doesn't mean that we don't have to sometimes do the stuff we don't want to do, because that's life. But how much of that is happening in your life, and how much things are you doing that truly bring you joy and light you up? And that's what I want to do here, is help you to be able to find those pieces and to be able to carve out that time. It doesn't always take a lot of time, and really support yourself and what you need, because a stronger you, a happier you, a more abundant you is going to show up different. You're going to show up different in your family, with your friends, in your work, and in your you time, right? So you're going to see that this program, well, we're going to laugh, probably. I will, because I'm a giggler, hard word. But we're going to also shed some tears. At least I'll shed some tears as I'm sharing some of the stories with you, because even though they're part of my past and I feel so much better about parts of that, they still really strike an emotional chord with me. And so, perhaps you will have an emotional chord that is struck, and you might find yourself in tears. My suggestion: let it flow. You can sing the song if you want to, but really, it's about tears have been such a healing part of my journey that it just washes things away. And we'll talk more and more about that. But this journey will be a whole lot of personal discovery. Um, I will promise that it will be very worthwhile for your time, and we're going to help you come back to your authentic, joyful self. All right. So I've been where you are, and I'm going to share a little bit about my story. In 2017, um, I lost my husband to suicide, and I found myself completely shattered. Grief, anger, hopelessness, they consumed me. And I'm a really strong person. I have so many tools to help bring myself back into a better place. But this was so different. And I discovered through that darkness, I rediscovered my strength, I rediscovered my resilience, and I'm here to share those empowering philosophies, those some practical strategies, and some of the transformative daily practices that help me to rewrite this story. So, I'm just going to give you a little list of some of the things that we're going to be doing in this 7-day challenge. I'm going to give you the tools to make new and empowered decisions about your future and to start living a joyful life on your terms. I'm going to help you to reframe your past pain and maybe your current struggles in a way that uplifts and empowers you instead of breaking you down. We're going to uncover some new choices, some new habits, some new experiences that can bring more purpose and more fulfillment to your life. We're also going to train your mind and your emotions to seek joy, hope, happiness, even in the midst of difficulty. I'm going to provide you with some actionable, step-by-step guidance to really help you navigate this journey of grief, loss, and overwhelm. Now, I also know that this work is going to stir up some emotion. It's going to stir up some anger, some sadness, some fear. Please know that all of your feelings, all of these feelings that are going to show up, are going to be completely valid. They are there for a reason. They're trying to tell you something. So your job is to just pay attention and to maybe notice what it was that triggered you. A suggestion would be to write some of this down. So if something triggered you or if something I said upset you, maybe it made you angry, write it down, and it might be something to look at later to figure out, well, why did those things trigger, and maybe what's a different way that you can look at it. I encourage you to embrace all of it, explore all of this with a compassionate heart, and this is how we're going to get to the other side, okay, together, by just being open and being ready for whatever shows up. All right, to kick things off, I'm going to tell you a little bit about my story. So I started my own business when I was 16. If we want to go back further than that, I actually started my own craft business when I was, I think I was 12 years old. We had just moved to the farm in Oakville, and we lived on Dundas Street. So those of you who are not familiar with the area, it's a highway, basically, that even though we were in Oakville and, oh my gosh, a couple of years ago, it wasn't as busy as it is now. I had this fantastic idea, because I am a born entrepreneur, that I was going to make all of these amazing crafts, and then I was going to do a garage sale, craft sale on the side of the road and make my millions. So I made these awesome little chairs out of those wooden clothespins, and I glued them together. I spent hours making them. Once they were all glued together, then I stained them. I also made some amazing little Barbie purses and some Barbie cushions that went on these little chairs, and got my table, got my little menu with all the prices on it, and I set my little table on the hill at the end of the property, and for the entire day, I watched cars go by this way and that way and this way and that way. Not a single person stopped. Um, but I was not shaken. I actually still think I have some of those things from that particular class sale in a bag in my storage somewhere. That's going to be shifting over the next 6 months or so as I continue with my purging. Um, so that was just one experience of, having a plan and it not going quite exactly as I wanted, but stuck with it anyway. When I was 16, I actually started my own business. I was fortunate enough that we were living on this farm, and when I was 12, my parents got me my first horse, and we found out a few months later that she was pregnant. So, what was fun about that was that it was a mystery, and two for the price of one horses. But when I was 16, actually 15, I decided that I wanted to make this my living. And back another moment or two in time, when I was in grade 6, they asked us what we wanted to do when we grew up. And I drew a picture of Sunset Stables was the name of the barn. It was a red barn with a black roof and rolling hills and wooden fences. And that that kind of kept going in the back of my head. And when I was 15, I decided I was going to do something about it. So there was a student venture program that the government was giving out money to help students to start their own summer business. Well, without my parents knowing, I went ahead and I filled out the whole application. I found out, how much money I wanted to make and how much it was going to cost me to feed the horses. Well, the problem was I only had 2 horses. So I knew I needed to buy some horses. And I went through this whole process to the very end, and I was going to schedule my time to meet um, with the committee to see if I was going to get approved. And I thought I'd give it a dry run with my parents, who had a few hints of what was going on at this point. And at the end of my presentation with my parents, they said, okay. And I didn't quite know what they meant by that. And when I asked them to clarify, they said, okay, we'll lend you the money to get started. And I found out about a trail riding stable not too far away that was going out of business. And I thought, perfect. They're going to be having an auction. It was a month or two away. So I called the place and let them know that I was interested in some horses and what I was doing, starting a business, and I wanted to bring all my friends and family and put them on their best horses. And so we booked a trail. We all went out. There was a whole gang of us, and I sat at the back of the trail ride with my horse, and I watched how all the horses behaved with my friends and family, most of which didn't know anything about horses. And I looked at all the horses that I liked that did well, and I went to the auction with those horses in mind. And I got 2 of the 3 that I wanted. The third one they didn't actually put in the auction because they knew she was more valuable. So I paid a little more for her a few days after the auction, and the 3 horses came home. Um, so that was the start of 5 Star Ranch, which is still operating some 38-ish years later, um, which is pretty amazing, really. It has been a heck of a up and down, and lots of shifts and transitions in that, including my first husband left when my kids were just 2 and 4, which was a really, really difficult time for me. And I actually walked away from my business for about a year, which I had an amazing team, so I was able to do that. It's just to get myself straight and figure out what the new direction was going to be. Then, I guess in 2017, I got married again, and gosh, I had waited a decade at least to get married again. So, less than a year later, I found out that my second husband was not faithful. And that's it's a huge deal for everybody, but it's a deal breaker for me. And he knew that. And when I approached him about it, initially there was a lot of denial. And I stuck to my guns because I knew what was happening. And he finally admitted it. Um, Within about a half an hour of that happening, he left the farm. And I did see him one more time after that. And then he drove off, and I went back in the house and I cried and I wrote him a letter and I tried to figure out what I was going to do, what my next steps were. And the next morning, I woke up and he had not come back home. And it was the day that I had my largest money camp for kids program ever starting. And it wasn't a day that I could sit in bed and cry. It wasn't a day that I could go look for him. It wasn't, I had to get out. I had to take care of my students. And while I was doing that, trying to phone his family, phone his friends, try and figure out where in the heck he was. And then I came back in the house around noon. I had a wonderful volunteer that was taking care of the kids at lunch. And on my way back out to take care of the kids for the afternoon session, I saw 2 police cars drive in. And I knew it was bad. And I knew it was about him. And they got out of the car and they asked me who I was. And then they proceeded to tell me that my husband was dead, that he had taken his life at a park just around the corner. And I remember falling to my knees. I remember falling to my knees, and my mom and my daughter coming out on the porch. And I could hear them. I could hear my mom. She was yelling and trying to figure out what was going on when I couldn't speak. And I remember that day so clearly. The trauma support people stayed with me for quite some time to help me figure out. They were actually the ones that went and spoke to all of the parents at the camp. Um, I was so lucky to have had, honestly, so much support after such a terrible tragedy that, I don't know if it made it any better, any easier, but it certainly took a great deal of the stress out of everyday decisions when they helped with so many things. I had some amazing people that started a meal train. And so, gosh, I think this was July 9th is the date that he took his life. And I think I had food that came till October. that people were cooking meals and just sitting them in a cooler on the front porch if I wasn't able to communicate with them. I was in a very dark place for a very long time. I didn't want to get out of bed many days. I really remember one time sitting on my bed, laying on my bed, and I was thirsty, and there was a glass of water on the dresser on the other side of the room. And I looked at it all day, and I did not get up to get that. So that was 2017, and I don't always cry about it every time I talk about it, but sometimes I do. It was such a crushing blow to me that this man who I thought was the pillar of integrity would do either one of these two horrendous things. But out of that pain came reasons for me to get back up. And I think the first year was numbness. I don't remember a lot of that first year. I know I had so many people that were there to help and support um, and just be loving and let me fall apart around them. And that's what we want to build for you here is we want to build a community here that can support you through your lows and that you can come and talk to somebody, share what's going on, and have somebody that will listen. Because not all of us are that blessed to have um, people in our lives that really will listen when we're having difficulties. This program was born out of that pain. From that pain, I grew. And at some point, I got, I guess, I got sick and tired of feeling terrible all the time. I was blaming everybody, not necessarily blaming everybody, but I was pointing fingers at why I didn't feel good. And eventually, I had to give my head a shake and realize I had to point the finger this way and recognize that even though I had all that love and support, nobody was coming to save me. Nobody was going to change my mindset. Nobody was going to um, lift me up to where I needed to be. I needed to get there myself. I needed to start making different decisions. I needed to start looking at things with a different perspective. And when I did, I started feeling better. I started being ruthlessly selfish. And I say that in an incredibly positive way. Um, I say it in a way that I really started to do the things that were super important for me instead of always doing the things that were important for other people. And that was a really difficult transition, especially as a mom, because I was really in no position at the beginning to be much of a mom. But now, after taking all the steps to get myself back into a great place, now I want to help share that with you and give you some of the things that I did that really made a huge difference. And that's what a lot of this program is those things that I did on a daily basis. So the first thing that we need to do is we need to kind of figure out where you are right now and whether, in all of the different areas of your life. So we're going to do something called a wheel of life. And this wheel of life is something that if you look on your email, you would have gotten a link for this sheet, or you can look in the area here with the video. There'll be a link. You can open that up. But if you don't have that handy, go ahead and just draw a big circle. And in that circle, we're going to divide it up into, hang on a second, let me see how many sections. into 8 sections. All right. The first section is going to be health and vitality. Now, the health and vitality is going to focus on your physical well-being, your exercise routine, your nutrition, your sleep patterns, your stress management, your overall energy levels. Um, for example, if you're struggling with your health, or maybe you are carrying some extra weight, where would you assess that? Or sorry, this is where you would assess that. So you're going to have a circle, and we're going to have 8 pieces of pie. So you'll be doing 1, 2, 3, 4, because that's about that many lines. And in that pie, you're going to put one of them that's labeled health and vitality. The next one is going to be mindset and meaning. So mindset and meaning, it's going to look at your mental, your emotional, your spiritual state. You're going to consider your attitude, personal growth, your sense of purpose. How aligned are your everyday actions with your deepest values? For instance, you might have been feeling lost, maybe depressed, maybe you're feeling disconnected from what truly matters to you. So this category is going to reflect on that area of your life. And if you want to start playing with this as we're talking about it, what you're going to do is the outside of the circle is 100% and the inside of the circle is 0. So if you're feeling really not so great about a category, you're going to just color in the bottom part, right? So the part that's closest to the center, whether that be 10%, 20%, 50%. And again, there is no judgment. It is just where you are at. It is a check-in. So now we've got our health and vitality. We have mindset and meaning. The next one is relationships. Now, this could be your intimate relationships, your trusted connection that you experience with a partner. It also is going to be where betrayal, loss, any of those things are going to be. And it also talks about um, what is the quality of your closest relationships and how supported do you feel? All right. Again, same thing. Anywhere between 0 and 100, you want to color in. The middle part is 0, the outside is 100. The third part is finances. So, how is your financial situation? How is the management, your income, your expenses versus your income? Do you have more month left at the end of your money? Or the other way around, is it a source of stress? Do you have some savings, investments? Are you stable financially? And if not, again, no judgment. Money stress, money troubles can cause a great deal of stress. And this is where you're going to assess that. All right. Again, just a starting point from 0 to 100. Next is going to be your career and your mission. So that's going to evaluate how satisfied you are in your work, whether you're employed or whether you're self-employed. You might be even unemployed, but you still have a mission. So maybe you have something that you're doing for your community, maybe through a church. So this is going to be where that is going to be. You could consider how that all of this aligns with your passions and your sense of purpose. The next is self-care. We're going to talk a lot about self-care. Most of us, especially women, are terrible with our self-care because we are caring for everyone else. So self-care, it's going to be emphasizing taking care of yourself, prioritizing you, which is what you're doing by taking this program. But it's also going to, you know, how often are you doing things that you enjoy, that are maybe relaxing, that are just indulging? Maybe you're getting your nails done. Maybe you're taking a nap in the afternoon. Maybe you're taking that walk out in nature. Maybe you're going to hang out with a friend. There's so many different things in here. Um, it could be, are you getting enough sleep? I know we talked about that earlier as well. Hobbies. Are you remembering to eat regular meals? Because I know when I was in a really difficult place, I could go days without eating, and which amazes me now because I can't do that now. But when our mind is in a terrible place, we're not regulated as well as we could be. All right, so that's how you doing with your self-care? 0 to 100. Go ahead and fill that in now if you like. Number 7 is our social, our friendships, and our community. So this is looking a little bit outside of your intimate relationships. How well do you get along with your friends? Do you have a community of people that you can connect with? Do you have a support network? And how much time do you spend nurturing your friends and doing something nice for them or with them? So that's going to be social, friendships, community, 0 to 100. Tell us where you're at. And then the last one on our list is family. And this is going to focus on the relationships in your immediate family. So your parents, your siblings, maybe aunts and uncles, the close family or an extended family. What are the qualities of the time that you spend? How much time do you get to spend together? This could include your family of origin, but it can also include chosen families. Sometimes our blood family is not as healthy and supportive as what we need. And so having those other chosen family can still give you that sense of that deep connection that we really, really need. So rate your level of satisfaction or fulfillment. You can do that. And then I want you to just think about that. Okay. And I want you to then look at your wheel, what it looks like at the end. The center of the wheel, again, is 0. The outer edge is 100. Be brutally honest. This is the time. Nobody's looking at this, but we are going to ask you to share it later. So this assessment is your awareness. It is not for you to judge. It's not for anybody else to judge. Somebody else can look at it, and if they say something that is not supportive, this is where we're going to start brushing off comments that are not going to help us. So once you have completed your wheel of life, I'm going to encourage you to share your thoughts and share your insights in our private group. So you can either post a comment there that is just going to be something written. You could take a picture of your wheel and post that as well. And maybe some things that made you go, oh my goodness, I hadn't thought of that before. You can also do it by video. But we want you to share. And the reason we want you to share is there's something that is fantastic about the awareness of doing the activity. But there is something way next level when you share it. And you're sharing it among a safe community. This community, we are not, and I'm going to actually chat about this now. I would have been good for me to chat about this beginning, but we're going to do it now. What happens in this private Glow Up and Love Yourself group stays in this Glow Up and Love Yourself group. The Howler Monkeys agree. That's who's talking behind me there. You are most welcome to share and connect and everything in the group, but please, for the safety and for the sense of peace of everybody in this group, that doesn't go outside of this group, right? That's why we made it a private group for you. So by now, you all hopefully have done your introduction in the private group. So there's a couple of things that I love the monkeys. So the Howler monkeys are not little, they're pretty good size, black monkeys that are around. I love it. Okay, sorry, I'm scrolling off and getting a little bit distracted here. So how can you not just stop everything just to appreciate that, though, right? Okay. Once you've completed that wheel of life and you have shared that information, That is your glow work for tonight. There's going to be some prizes coming up. See, he wants some prizes too. He's going to have to get on the Glow Up and Love Yourself group if he wants some prizes. And there's going to be a variety of different things. There are other programs that you could win a ticket for. I have some of my Lemonade Stand Millionaire books that teach about money and entrepreneurship that are going to be prizes. Lots of different things. So I'm okay to ethically bribe you a little bit to get out there and get participating. So going over that one more time because we're going to wrap up for today. And the first thing that you need to do is make sure that you share an introduction for yourself. Tell us a little bit about who you are, about what it is that brought you to this program and what you're hoping to get out of it. Any other information is great. You can do this with a picture and a text, or you can do a quick video. So I'm trying to kick you out of your comfort zone right from the beginning, and let's just go ahead and get started. And please connect with each other through the group. I will post what your homework is or your glow work is, and I will see you tomorrow again for another amazing day. We're going to have some more fun. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this. I hope that you got something from this, but this is just the beginning. So we're going to be taking this wheel of life and we're going to be utilizing it through the program and working on all of those areas. And all right, I'm going to say one more thing. I tend to not finish right when I think I'm going to because another thought pops into my head and oof, off I go again. So if you ever hear me go squirrel, that's really what is going on. And now I think I have gotten the point I was going to make. I do. So that is the personal wheel. Now, if there is some things that you want to shift around, maybe you want to take a category out and put a different category in, you are most welcome to do that. This is just something that I did fairly custom to what we're doing here. You could also make a business wheel of life, or a career wheel of life is something that you could have some fun with as well. We're not going to cover that in this program because 7 days is just not enough time. All right, that's it. I'm really going to say goodbye this time. Have an amazing rest of your day, everyone. I can't wait to see you tomorrow, and I can't wait to see your videos or your posts that's going to share who you are and share your wheel of life. Beautiful day, everyone. We'll talk to you soon.